everybody on the vinyl community, Dark Dove back with you again, and I'm going to be kind of back to the regular routine after my last video, which focused exclusively on classical music, so it's back to the usual stuff again. I'm actually going to shoot probably two separate videos because I've got a lot of stuff to show, and I thought it's probably best to split it into two videos because there's stuff that's kind of accumulated over the last couple of months, so that maybe I may have another video following this up perhaps in the next week or so. Anyway, pretty much everything that I'm going to show you here today I got either in charity shops or, in the case of two items, kind of flea markets. I'll start off straight away with two items which I actually got only today, actually literally just about an hour ago, doing a bit of random browsing in a shop that I regularly call into. Picked up this Mahavishnu Orchestra Birds of Fire. Had been looking for this one. I have their other one which came immediately after this. Just can't think of the name of it just now. You know the one. So this has got Billy Cobham, John McLaughlin, Jan Hammer, bit of sticker damage, has the original inner bag. Vinyl really does need a good clean. Yeah, it's pretty dirty, but there's no major scratches or anything on it, so very pleased with that indeed. Mahavishnu Orchestra. And the other item which I picked up today in the same shop was Julian Bream. Julian Bream, Dances of Dowlands. Julian Bream, well-known English classical guitarist. So two nice finds. Now two items which I picked up in a local flea market. Starting off with this pretty interesting item which I picked up for €5. This is the soundtrack album to a movie called Salvation, which came out in 1987. This is soundtrack album, 87. Very, very interesting lineup here. So Arthur Baker, The Hood, which is kind of electronic kind of stuff, New Order, and Cabaret Voltaire. So I've never seen the movie, by the way. I think it's something to do with teleevangelism, some kind of piss take of televangelists. Viggo Mortensen of Lord of the Rings is in it, so he must be quite young. What label is it on? This is sorry, what is the label? Well, anyway, this is a Belgium pressing. Mostly excellent stuff on this, but it does feature this band here called Dominique, which is, as far as I can tell, is actually a band, but that's a bit shit. It's a bit kind of hair metal kind of stuff, but the rest of the stuff is excellent. New Order, Cabaret Voltaire, the Hood, and the Arthur Baker stuff, all excellent. Apart from the two tracks by this act here, which are not very good at all. But let's try and see the movie. I don't know if it's any good or not, but an excellent soundtrack. Anyway, The other item I picked up by an artist who I'm kind of always on the lookout for, Scott Walker. Looking back with Scott Walker. Now, this is actually, this was released in 1968, but it's actually, the recordings are actually demos that he did in 1959. I think he might have been about 16 or 15 or 16, I'm not 100% sure. This really is, it's not very good. For one thing, his voice is virtually unrecognisable. First thing that hits you when you listen to it is, Jesus, is that really Scott Walker? I mean, really his voice, because he was very young, so it is a totally different voice to the one that, you know, would become more familiar in later years. But material, really, it's kind of like, I don't know, teen ballad kind of stuff. As I said, it was recorded as a demo, and it was just released, I suppose, in the late 60s, kind of capitalise on his success. But it does have a very nice cover, but I wouldn't advise anybody to bother with it really. It's only kind of a curiosity item really. Now, next up I'm going to go through a very big charity shop haul which I made during the week. All of these items I picked up in the same place where I got those box sets which I showed in my classical update in my last video. These items, they were all put out over a matter of days. I think I picked up a couple of items, and then, like a murderer returning to the scene of the crime, I returned in the days after, and they'd put out more stuff. So picked up loads of great stuff. All of these I think were about €2 each. First off, Michel-Jarre, his second album, Equinox. Michel-Jarre, he is somebody who I listened to his stuff quite a lot, kind of maybe going back about 15 years ago. Then I kind of forgot about him, but I used to rent the CD of this out from the local music library, along with Oxygen. I've forgotten how good this album is. It really is, you know, really kind of innovative stuff. It came out in 1978. This is a original UK pressing on Polydor, and really nice condition. Like, Jean-Michel-Jarre has never been kind of, I suppose, cool. Like if you compare him to, say, Kraftwerk, he's never had that kind of iconic status. But this is a really good album, and I love that artwork as well. So yeah, so I'll be looking out to try and grab a copy of Oxygen as well, I think, because I think it's one you see around quite a lot. So now next up, a band who I have a kind of I suppose you could say a kind of a love-hate relationship with, and yeah, that needs no introduction. U2 War, their third album. I have to say, like, I don't dislike U2. I'm kind of indifferent to them. I do prefer their earlier stuff. I have listened to this album before, and I quite like it. Along with their debut album, Um, um, so it's from '83. The cover is the sleeve is the UK Island pressing, but the disc is the Irish pressing on CBS, which is actually a lot rarer. But for some reason, it's the sleeve and the disc aren't matching. So yeah, I suppose this really was their kind of big breakthrough album. As I said, I've kind of mixed feelings about them. I mean, I think, personally speaking, I think in this country here in Ireland, they kind of dominated the music scene, kind of to an extent, whereas record companies were kind of over eager to sign bands who were kind of similar to U2, kind of to the detriment of kind of maybe less commercial bands. But anyway, that's another story. Moving on with my charity shop finds. Another item from the same place. This is this comp on the Transatlantic label. Transatlantic, the Vintage Years. This is a compilation from 1978, going over the likes of Pentangle, the Humble Bums, which were Billy Connolly's group, Ralph McTell, the Johnstons, John Renburn, the Dubliners. So yeah, very nice compilation sampler of the Transatlantic label. Next item. Now this is a item on an Irish label, Mulligan. A label which I'm not sure if it's still around or not, but released a lot of Irish folk stuff in the 70s and maybe into the 80s. This was released in 1979, and it features Kevin Burke and Michal O'Donnell. Also featuring Donal Lunny and Declan Sinnott. So this is a really good folk album, and it's kind of rare enough. It goes kind of from, it's hard enough to find because I don't think it's been reissued since it came out. Now there is a link to between this and the next item. This is also on the Mulligan label, and this is the Bothy Band. Again featuring this guy. Sorry. Yeah, Kevin Burke. So Kevin Burke again, and also Donal Lunny again. So this came out on the Mulligan label again in 1976. So the Bothy Band, as Ben Costello will tell you, were a leading seminal group in the Irish folk scene. Now this guy here, his name is Paddy Keenan. He's a very high profile uilleann piper. That's what those things are called, uilleann pipes. I have a bit of a story to tell about this guy. I actually met him about 20 years ago in the mid-90s. He crashed in my flat where I was living at the time in West Cork. There was this girl who I knew who asked me could she crash, and she was bringing a friend. I agreed. She was coming from a gig, but it turned out to be this guy, Paddy Keenan. Bit of an obnoxious character, to be quite honest. He was very, very drunk, and I had words with him because he was kind of falling around the place, very, very drunk and kind of knocking things over and stuff. Had a rude kind of a guy and a bit of an attitude. Anyway, they left the following morning. I used to hitchhike in those days. Maybe about a month later, I was hitchhiking. This guy's tour van passed, and Paddy Keenan was sitting in the passenger seat of the tour van, and I was thumbing hitchhiking, and as the van passed, he kind of waved at me sarcastically. So so he's not on my Christmas card list, but he is a fantastically talented musician. I will give him credit there, and a legendary figure in Irish folk music, but not a nice guy. Anyway, moving on. A bit of an unusual item for myself. Marlene Dietrich in London, from the 1965 on Pi Records. Vinyl isn't in great condition. Well, there are a few scratches on it, and it does it kind of sticks once or twice, but lovely sleeve. I love that cover image. I thought it was worth €2 just for that alone. So and it's kind of an interesting one. It's not something that I normally pick up, but just something kind of unusual. Now the next item, unusual certainly is the word for it. When I saw this, I was like, but anyway, Uri Geller. Yes, that Uri Geller, the guy, the spoon bending guy, or key bending. Yes, this is an album that he released in 1974 on Polydor. What does this consist of? Basically, there is a musical backing on this, but Uri himself provides voiceover. I suppose you'd call this kind of new age, but it's really not very good. In fact, it's shit. This is really, really bad. The only track on it that I actually like is this one, The They, which has some pretty nifty synthesizer, and Uri's vocal piece is not quite as annoying as the rest of the album, but it's a kind of a curiosity piece, and it's kind of collectible as well. By the way, that's a Harrods sticker, so whoever bought this got it in Harrods, the store in London. I just got through some CDs which I picked up in various charity shops. Ben Costello will have told you all about this. This is How We Fly, more Irish folk, only this is, well actually it's Swedish. They're like a Swedish and Irish folk group This is actually this was a brand new CD, but it was in a charity shop. It was actually sealed, but obviously maybe somebody got it as a Christmas present or something and decided, oh, I don't like this, so gave it into a charity shop. But like to buy this new would be probably about 12 euros or something, but I got it for I think 2 euros. So and it is an absolutely fantastic album. So Television Adventure, their second album. Not as good as Marquee Moon, but I mean, how could you follow up Marquee Moon? And Tom Verlaine Anthology, The Miller's Tale, double CD of both stuff, both his solo stuff and stuff with television. Dead Can Dance, A Passage in Time. This is a compilation album from the early 90s. Mercury Rev, Deserter Songs. Don't need to go into any detail about that. It's an absolute classic from the late 90s. T-Rex, T-Rex Electric Warrior. The sensational Alex Harvey Band, live at the BBC. Double CD compilation, and I made a great Alex Harvey score about a month back, which I showed in a recent video. And finally, this ambient, what is it? A brief history of ambient. This is an early 90s CD compilation, double CD. Includes stuff by Eno, both Brian Eno and his brother, I think it's a Roger Eno, Tangerine Dream, Robert Fripp, great stuff there. Okay, so that's it. I will be following this up with another video, maybe in the next few days, maybe in about a week, we'll see, because I got a lot of other stuff to show as well. So thanks for watching and stay tuned.